Oh boy. All right, so you're going to see it rights that are not absolute on Canvas. I'd like you to work on that right now. We will discuss it. We will go over it. So here's the activity. How about I give you about, I don't know, 10 minutes to work on this, 10 to 12. We'll go over it, and if we have some time, we'll start with the chapter notes. So this is what it looks like. Rights that are not absolute. Click right there. So what we're going to be doing, it's really detailing about the First Amendment and more, obviously, but give an example of how each of the following rights are not absolute. In other words, how might the government limit or take away that right based on time, place, or manner? So you're going to go through the list here. Freedom of speech. How might that be limited? How might that be, let's say, I guess you could say, I won't say limited again, but controlled by the government, right? Controlled by a certain institution, maybe. Press, religion, assembly, the bear arms, search and seizure, rights of accused, double jeopardy, and self-incrimination. Speedy and fair trial, bail, no excessive bail, punishment, no cruel and unusual punishment. So there's really many of the expressed Bill of Rights, okay, first 10 amendments that I'd like you to look over. And like I said, I'll give you 10 to 12 minutes to think about certain scenarios, certain places where this might be limited, and we'll go over it. Know what we're doing? All right, there's a classwork assignment. Like I said, you have 10 to 12 minutes to work on this. We'll reconvene here soon. How are we doing so far? Cannon? Doing all right? Okay. Terrence? Adam? How was pictures the other day? Yeah? Tanner, how we doing? Good. Okay? Good. How we doing over here, guys?
I don't know how to explain. Yeah, you have it. Like, yeah.
Okay, how so? What do you need help?
Like, this is what I have. Like, am I doing this right? Like, I have no idea what to put that.
Yeah, just give me an example. So, maybe give me an example of how
Yeah, like you get in trouble with the thing.
defamatory speech, maybe slander, libel, against another person. Maybe you're talking about the country. It's discrimination. What? False news, fake news, maybe? Yeah, just think about certain instances, certain examples. You could use your iPad to search something. I know for a couple of these here, we're talking about that American history today even with the espionage edition. Oh, okay. You got it. On basketball. Are you shooting threes all over the place? The corner, okay. A side shot. No backboard for you. I'm guessing you shoot nothing but that, huh? Shoot it. What about you?
No. Like when you gather something, protest. Racial discriminating. It's the truth, right? Because I used to take
No, they can't for that.
Oh.
They can. I need to find that now.
You scared me.
Did I use it? Everybody loved it?
You
Mr.
know,
Bowman.
you know,
I get that.
I
I
use
used
it.
it.
So,
Yeah.
oh. Oh, current events. Who has yet to go in here? Everybody what? Who's last to go?
I think we set it
I was last. Yeah.
Did we start over?
up.
Let me check. The grade book will tell me.
Yeah, the grade book's not always accurate.
It isn't.
No, there's rock.
Really? Did I mess something up?
2 questions wrong on his math test that she missed. So actually, I got a better score. But
But
the
in the
grade
grade
book
book, I
says
got
he got a better score.
Oh,
She missed that amount. Amazing.
really?
Finally did better on math test than Brock, and it doesn't even show what.
Oh. What can you do?
Yeah, I totally told her, and she obviously can't do anything right now.
So I think Angel, you're the last to go, right? Could be wrong, but I don't have anything for this side of the room yet.
I was trying to watch her.
Okay,
I don't remember what I did my whole time.
so I guess we'll start with you, Lex. All right. I feel like you just went not long ago. American history.
Oh, because weren't they specials? Yeah.
Oh, you were. Yeah. I don't have your grade in.
He definitely did. He
I
just,
remember.
yeah.
I know. I remember it too. You got friends with grades? What was it on? Do you remember? You remember what was
Something
on?
about the launching.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's
Elon
right.
Musk- Elon Musk is on the Starship.
That's right. Look at you, Madden.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, so you went already. What about you, Jeffrey? When was the last time you went? I don't remember you going anytime recent.
I'm gone. I was one of the first people to go.
All right, Jeff. Where you going?
Well, yeah, you started that in the January.
Made me go 3 times in one
There you
day.
go. Well, that's how it's supposed to be. If you take me 3 times in one day, that's how it is. I was surprised you're here for it. What?
Huh?
Oh, okay, here we go. Here we go. So rights that are not absolute. What do we have here for free speech? What do we got? Tanner, go ahead.
So World War I, the Sedition Act made it or prohibited the use of speaking bad about the government.
Yeah, good job. Good job. So we just talked about this in my American history, so you have me there. I mean, it's working perfect, right? So Sedition Act. Yeah, if you talk badly about the government, if you are maybe going against the government's statements of war, okay, maybe their policies on war, then you're viewed as a traitor. Oh, you're put in jail or fined, or in worst cases, killed on the streets by many other people that are around you that know that maybe you're going against the intentions of the United States. Yeah, so the Sedition Act, that's a great example. Okay, Espionage Act, you can maybe state that as well, okay, for these immigrants that came over to the United States. Rem, what are you doing? Okay, make sure you keep that down. All right, so the Espionage Act is another good example. If you're a so-called sympathizer or spy, let's say from another country against the United States, especially during World War I, with German culture, German heritage around the U.S., specifically here in Central PA, you could be viewed as a traitor and fined and placed in jail. In the worst case, like I said, beaten up or killed, lynched in the streets by your neighbors, maybe your friends, if they get a better grade than you on a test. Oh, oh my gosh. Madden wouldn't even try to disguise herself. I'm coming for you, Brock. Yeah, all right, good. What else do we have for free speech? We're going to talk about a couple court cases, actually. We'll talk about one tomorrow, especially with Tinker versus Des Moines, with symbolic speech during the Vietnam War. They wore black armbands to try to really go against the United States stance on the Vietnam War. And that caused a lot of uproar, caused a lot of issues. So we'll talk about that again tomorrow. What other cases do you have? Other instances, other examples? Taylor? Hate speech, okay. So libel, slander. We'll talk about forms of defamatory speech here soon, and how any type of writing that may be falsely accusing someone of something could cause a lot of issues, a lot of problems. And that just happened not too long ago, where a man actually sued major publications like big national broadcasters just because of this defamatory speech and maybe speech and slander that might not be true. Okay. And you might see that actually here. I'm sure you guys stayed up to date with this Rittenhouse case. There's a lot of talk that he might do the same to many of these publications that were calling him a white supremacist. Again, leaving politics out of it, but that's what you might see. You might see it. Rem, what's up? Death threats, yeah. So same thing. Okay, kind of go along the lines of defamatory speech, and how this might be something going against someone's good name and character. And death threats is a good one. So we'll talk about a clear and present danger rule. That was how the Sedition and Espionage Acts were established. Well, if this is a clear threat to the United States, if this is going to cause maybe a danger to many people's lives in the U.S., well, maybe we can limit freedom of speech then in certain cases. Good. What's another example we can maybe come up with? Jeffrey?
Nowadays you have cancel culture, that's pretty big.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Yeah, good. So again, go along the lines of that defamatory speech. If you're falsely accusing someone of something that maybe they didn't do or say, then that could cause some issues there, and might not be able to be said or expressed. Other examples like yelling fire in a crowded airport or in a movie theater, causing a huge problem where you might have not millions, but hundreds of people running to an exit door, and maybe someone gets trampled or killed. That could be viewed as a form of obviously clear and present danger and problems with speech. What else? We'll talk about some other cases, especially here in school, like if you work for the yearbook or if you work for the school newspaper, or let's say the broadcasting at TNN. You just can't go up and say anything because it's associated with what? The school. Right, the school could be hit with some of those terms, so they get to limit your freedom of speech and expression depending on what is said that is associated with the school. So we'll talk about a couple court cases with that, like Bethel versus Frazier, Hazelwood versus Colmare, which are certain examples where the school can actually limit freedom of speech. Right, Jeffrey? You last year on the broadcast and say what you want, talking about Spider-Man and everything else. No, I'm just kidding. All right, press. What do we have for the press? What do we got? Jeffrey?
Different news media controlling different parts of political factions.
Okay, yes, that's big today. I mean, talking about this stuff, you got to be careful what you're saying, especially with these political parties and how these viewpoints are totally skewed from one end of the aisle to the other. And how do you try to pick through what's right and wrong? Well, as broadcasting, as news, they're supposed to be reporting to keep the government in line, the government in check. So again, it kind of seems like vice versa, depending on what side of the aisle you're on, right? Where the government's wanting the press to appease to what they have to, viewpoint they're trying to express. So again, one of those things where press is limited depending on obviously what is said, what is expressed in their broadcasting on their newspapers or magazines. It has to have some sort of evidence before you falsely accuse someone or something of these types of accusations. Good. What example do you have, Madden, for freedom of press? False article. Yep. Good job. No evidence behind it at all. Good. So that's a good example. Lex?
I have the one like where they did televise this, but they actually after like about a month said about a gas leak was actually huge, but they never aired it on television because the company paid them to not air this.
Yeah. Okay. That's a good one. Good job. Good job. I don't know if you guys know, over the summer, I think it was, or maybe last spring, there's a big apartment complex that fell in Miami. Okay. A lot of it just because the reports weren't published. It wasn't stated of the safety protocols in that apartment complex and how it needed to be either demolished or, obviously fortified a little bit better, and just kind of hit it on the rug. And unfortunately, people died in that apartment complex falling apart. And again, press, right? Make sure that it's expressed, that it's stated, and that these are stated for the public to see. If not, stuff like that could happen. All right, good. Good job. What else? What else do we have here? Taylor, what do you have? What's that?
Like, posting in the newspaper or whatever, threatening people.
Yeah, good job. Good job. So social media, you can definitely kind of follow suit with that, with freedom of press and how people are expressing themselves vocally online, or whatever types of articles they might be targeting someone or their affiliation or their group. Good. Religion. What do we have here? Religion. Tanner, what do you have for religion?
In 1990, the Supreme Court tried to make a decision to limit our right of free religion.
Okay. How so?
I couldn't find the actual case, but there was an act made to counter it called the Religious Freedom Restoration Act, and it was to override that.
Okay. All right. Jeffrey?
Race riots in 2020 and 2021.
Okay. Well, how is religion in that?
There were also riots about people being Islamic, people being Jewish, people being atheists, riots about anything and anything.
Okay. All right. So how is the government limiting that, though, your religion in this case, this scenario?
They didn't step in to say certain religions don't have to be persecuted against certain providers because of their privilege.
Okay. All right. Good. So this kind of established really with the founding fathers, separation of church and state, so that religious matters won't dictate what happens on the politics side of government. And with religion, certain examples, there's a court case in 1943 with a Jehovah's Witness, okay, and how many political figures were targeting this religion over its statements and over its beliefs, and it's caused a huge uproar, especially because these people believed that they weren't welcome in the community and welcome in the state. And this caused a lot of uproar just because this was a conflict between a religion and a government entity, and it caused a lot of problems. So we'll read about that here soon, in the next couple days, about how religion, in certain cases, who knows, maybe it could be limited in certain cases here. That might have a conflict with the government. What other example do you have here? Brock, what do you have for religion? Yeah, okay, good job. What was that all about? Yeah, good job. And we'll talk about an important one with Minersville, actually here in Minersville, Schuylkill County, and Gobbinus during World War II. There was, I believe it was a Jehovah's Witness. They can't praise a symbolic meaning, a symbol like the flag. Okay, so the child just sat there during the Pledge of Allegiance, and during World War II, the teacher's like, "Oh, you got to stand up. You can't sit."
Please, any seniors that sold subs, please come down to the cafeteria to pick them up. Any seniors that sold subs, report to the cafeteria.
He's like, "Oh, you can't sit during the pledge, and this went against their religion. So this was actually fought in favor for Minersville, but this will be overturned then later down the road after World War II is over. Okay, so again, that's kind of something going along the lines of religion and how maybe there was a limitation at one point. I think it's important to talk about. See, Angela, do you mind closing the door now? All right, assembly, what do we have? Go ahead, Taylor.
Discriminating
Okay, all right, okay. Tanner?
The recent COVID mask mandates and the quarantine.
Yeah, okay, good. Good job. Good job. So I know what you guys are saying there with these limitations of these assemblies, as long as it's not causing any type of clear danger, right? Okay, even the KKK not long ago, actually in Williamsport, they're allowed to group, but they act, yeah, not the Kardashians, but they had to at first adhere to the community, the local government before assembling. The reason for it because of their beliefs, right? They knew it was going to maybe cause an uproar, maybe violence. So they need to make sure that they're protected by, let's say, an authority before they assemble. Does that make sense, guys? So if they do assemble, this could cause a huge uproar. This could cause a problem where many people in the community might not be for what they're, let's say, grouping or assembling about. So again, with some of these groups, like these hate groups, like the KKK, they're not, obviously it's frowned upon that they group together, but at the same time, they need to get involved here with, let's say, the local government before they have these meetings, before there could be a huge, let's say, uproar within the city or violence that might occur from these gatherings, from these assemblies. Good. What else can we say? Lex, go ahead. Where are you going?
To go get approval.
Your subs?
No, she has to get filtered.
Oh, okay. I guess that would be, yeah, since we're gonna be finishing up here. Go ahead. Another example would be during World War I, after the Red Scare. I know I just kind of introduced that in my American history class with the Red Scare. Certain cases like Schenck versus the United States, okay, where he was actually assembling for this communist movement. And again, raising a lot of eyebrows, especially some uncertain times during World War I and through this Red Scare with this Russian Revolution occurring. And he was actually thrown in jail. He was actually thrown in jail. And that just goes to show where the country was at that time with the acceptance of communism. Tanner?
Weren't there like Nazi protests and all that during World War II? People in jail as well?
Yeah, exactly. Good job. Good job. Many examples. You have the neo-Nazi groups being created, how they were made from jail because it was going against the goodwill of the nation during war. Jeffrey, do you have something or not?
The Alien Citizen Acts, is people that would accumulate in mass quantities that spoke German were always thrown in jail, especially during the times of World War II.
Okay, all right. Yep. So go along the Espionage Sedition Acts, right? Even with Japanese Americans at that time with the internment camps, you kind of can say that, how they're grouping these people into these internment camps, maybe if they're assembling. And again, it's unfortunate, but the protection of the country with espionage and different types of spies, that could cause a problem with the assembly of these people. All right, last one, we'll go over bear arms here. Bear arms, some limitations. Go ahead, Tanner.
In 2008, there was the McDonald versus Chicago case.
What was that about?
It was a case on people's rights against the state, or the states are trying to infringe on our amendment rights because of handguns.
Okay, good. So in certain states, especially with federalism, right, we talked about it, it might be more accepting to maybe carry a gun, a sidearm with you when you walk around. In other places, you can't, right? Maybe some larger cities, you can't have any type of concealed carry on you. If so, you could be charged or fined for it. But in other states, you can literally walk right down the street with a gun strapped to your side and actually have it present, and people won't think of it in any other ways. Like, let's say Texas, for instance, right? Go ahead, Jeffrey.
The 2020 days have the control.
Yeah, gun control. That's a huge alarming thing. Obviously, with different types of applications you can put on the guns. So, like maybe a bump stock, maybe automatic weaponry. Different types of silencers too could be restricted by the government depending on what your intent is with that weapon. Okay, good. All right, so we'll end there. I know I didn't get through all of them. We'll finish this up tomorrow as we're kind of introducing this new chapter. I think it's important to go over some of these limitations.